join me in saying the pledge? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, reviewing our housekeeping items. The board, when speaking, please move close to your microphone to ensure you are heard clearly for the YouTube streaming, and I request that citizens who speak to adjust the height and stand close to the microphone. There will be 2 opportunities for citizen comments. I will be requesting individuals stay within the 4 minutes in both citizen comments sections. I would appreciate everyone keeping their points concise. I would request that comments are made respectfully to the board. We are here to discuss the township's business. Citizen comment would pertain to specific issues, concerns, or policies they would like to bring to the board's attention. To respect everyone's time, I strongly urge the board not to respond to public comments, but address them in the board comment section. Sometimes this is difficult, but this is not a debating stage between the citizens and the board members. We have township business to conduct, and it is required that we do so effectively. If there needs to be a follow-up from the board, I will direct the appropriate person to reach out to that individual. The documents on the website are aligned to the items on the agenda. These are draft documents to provide background information only. Just to be clear, motions were drafted to help the board more quickly get to the final wording and vote on the respective motions. The final motion may look different to reflect the actual action taken by the board. Moving to the next item on our agenda, the approval of the regular board meeting minutes of January 18th, 2022. Any comments?
I have one.
Okay.
Under new business item number 1, we have the word resolution for adopting the pay schedule. Technically, it was not a resolution, so we need a different word there, either just the motion to adopt, or what's a better word for resolution?
Motion.
Just motion?
Yeah.
Okay, so motion is fine with me.
Okay.
Motion to adopt.
Anything else?
Not on that one?
Well, we'll take one at a time.
Right.
All right. If you have no one?
I have just a, under 5, about in the middle, just a clarification. It's a good word, but it's not the current accurate word, but it's under victims. It's got some victim support unit. It should be victims services unit. It's just a,
So that's the 5th line.
yeah, it starts with continued work with victims services unit.
All right. Any other changes?
Hang on, because I'm not finding hers.
First page.
First page, number 5.
Under citizen comment?
Yes.
5th line down.
Okay. Victim services, correct?
Yep.
All right, got it.
All right. If there are no other comments, I will make the motion to approve the January 18th, 2022 regular board meeting minutes with changes. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
It is moved and seconded to approve the regular board meeting of January 18th, 2021 with changes. Any further discussion regarding the motion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Moving on to the second meeting. Are there any changes for the special board meeting of February 1st, 2022, which was related to establishing the 22-23 budget discussion?
Technical different, a punctuation where there should not be one, I believe. Under A, Martell, board attorney fees seem to be at a low figure, suggest to be placed at our current year-to-date period. Township attorney fees, I think it should have, to flow, should be current year-to-date township attorney fees and suggests. So either a comma or nothing.
So take the period out.
Yep. And I had a spelling one, and where the heck did that go? I'll look. Other than that,
How
I
much-
had nothing else on that one.
Do you have anything, Sharon?
Just a comment. Do we always put excused? Like behind Kathy's name, excused? I mean, do we, typically we just put absent. We don't put excused, or is that all right?
Did we excuse her?
I don't know. I don't think we had a motion to excuse
Do you
her.
I
have a
don't
note?
think so. We can strike that word then.
Do you have a note from your mom?
No, Mama's in heaven, so I can't. No.
We've never
Basically,
typically,
you knew ahead of time that I was not going to be here.
Yep, that's fine.
I mean, anytime everyone's missed one, we've never had excused or unexcused or any, that type of thing.
Well, we're just really
Prior.
getting professional now.
Yeah.
All right, so we'll move on, Kath.
Yeah, my spelling one is later, I think, so.
All right, so any other comments? Not hearing any, I will make the motion to approve the February 1st, 2022 special board meeting minutes as presented with changes. Is there a second?
I can second that one.
All right, it is moved and seconded to approve the special board meeting minutes of February 1st, 2022 as presented with changes. Any further discussion regarding the motion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? All right, next item on the agenda, correspondence and announcements. Kathy?
Correspondence, none. Announcements, none.
All right, very good. Moving to the next item, any changes to the agenda? Hearing none, I make the motion that the agenda be accepted as presented. Is there a second?
I'll second.
It is moved and seconded that the agenda is accepted as presented. Any further discussion regarding the motion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Moving on, citizen comment. Do we have any citizen comments, Sharon?
There are two.
Okay,
One from Ron Boudros.
that's you? It is. And Alan put that gauntlet down for us, so we'll keep to the 4 minutes.
Won't be an issue.
Okay,
So as she said, I'm Ron Boudros, 1165 Bayview Drive, here in beautiful Torch Lake Township. Here to talk about ARPA funds, use of the funds. So online, apparently Torch Lake Township is going to receive a little over $123,000 from ARPA funds. I'm not sure where the board is in terms of the process of allocating funds. Just as a little side note, City of Ann Arbor had a citywide survey and a public invitation for input. Hopefully, Torch Lake Township will have some significant discussions before decisions are made. I think a potential use of ARPA funds would be improvement of septic tank integrity within the township. Maybe even provide funds for grants to, under certain circumstances, provide help with the repair of septic tanks. I think, for instance, the water quality of Torch Lake and Lake Michigan, as well as the community as a whole, would benefit from, let's say, help with repairing older legacy septic systems that are near Torch Lake or Lake Michigan. So there. An idea for the use of
ARPA.
funds that would benefit, long-term benefit for the whole community, right here in beautiful Torch Lake Township.
Township.
what a
Thanks for your
salesman.
time. And as a side note, they work well.
Great, we're glad.
Oh, great.
Thank you, Ron.
I know we don't need to comment, but my question would be, is it too late to have this on our agenda in March at our,
We
For
don't
what,
even
the
have a
annual
report
meeting?
done.
at our annual meeting where
For
we
what?
might bring it up for discussion among our community.
I haven't made the, I mean.
Would it be
there's
possible
There's
to do
public comment at the annual meeting, so people could come up and discuss it.
We don't even have a report done yet, Kathy.
All I'm asking
Right.
is, would it be possible to bring it up to the community to ask for their opinion at our annual meeting? When
could
we
do
might
that.
have more people in
We could do that.
attendance.
We could add that.
Just
I have
ask,
no problem. The agenda for the annual meeting is not done yet.
ask if they have
Or-
ideas.
Or we could do it at the regular meeting after that.
Mhm. Either or.
We've had discussion almost every month reverting to ARPA monies inadvertently with different types of discussions from public through their last 3 months of meetings too, so.
All right?
Well, I think what Ron is I'm picking up is that we're talking about the use of the funds for something that we can use, but something that would be not something that's important that we wouldn't have in our regular budget. That's
Right.
the idea, I think. Am I wrong, Ron?
The idea is that we don't have to spend it till 2024, and we have a lot of time to look at projects and types of things. So
Yes.
it's not an overabundance of an ARPA money compared to most people, but
Correct.
it is that.
Thank you.
I would take Ann Arbor's money if you could
Yes.
get us some of that million.
Yeah.
Right. Ask them to round it up and send us $1 million.
But Ann Arbor's not as quiet because of its increased population.
Yeah. All right.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to give you an Antrim County Parks update first. Our Parks Director, James Hunter, has been called to the National Guard. So he's not here right now, and the county had hired the assistant full-time while he was gone, and she quit. So I would like to read, it's on the Antrim County website if you go to employment, the job description of the seasonal park coordinator. Antrim County is now accepting applications for a seasonal park coordinator under the supervision of the Parks Director. This position assists in scheduling and supervising employees, handling customer service issues, collection of fees, utilizing online reservation systems, and other functions. They assist the Parks Director and participate in all aspects of facility maintenance activities and related tasks to maintain the county campground and other Antrim County parks while providing service to the public. The hourly rate of pay is $20.80 an hour. This position is expected to begin on April 1. And it's also on our county website that reservations for Barnes Park will be open the first couple weeks of April. If you want to, you can just check the county website. They do, I think, 7 to 14-day reservations first, and then they open up shorter days after that, so like weekends or a day or two at a time there. We had an Antrim County Road Commission meeting today, and I left a paper on all of your desks. It seems somewhat discouraging in some sense. Just on primary county roads, we have almost $18 million worth of work that needs to be done. And that's been one of the things that I've been working on as a commissioner, is trying to get some of our roads fixed. And it just seems like we've got way more roads and way more work that needs to be done than what we have money to do it. So the county is also talking about using some ARPA money to maybe fix some roads. So that's one possibility, but I just give it there for your information. And we did get a $2 million grant included in the state budget. Our state representative, Ken Borton, him and Wayne Schmidt got it put into the budget. And the Antrim County Road Commission got the $1 million down payment last week. And that's to fix the road by Shanny Creek. And it's actually like 2 different roads. I don't think it's even on here because it's getting fixed this year. So that's good. That's like, Bert Thompson told me that's probably the first time that that's happened in 20-some years that we've actually gotten a road put straight into the budget so that we didn't have to try to find funding to fix it in some other way. So, thank you.
Great.
Can I ask a question?
Yep,
The,
I might not know the answer, but
are the county roads that you're talking about, these are county roads that the local township does not contribute to?
the local townships are responsible primarily for township roads, not county roads, correct?
So in Torch Lake Township, don't we fix county roads? Doesn't our budget fix county roads?
I do not believe so. I believe primarily the township road millages are used to fix township roads. Maybe Bob knows also, but I'm pretty sure.
Well, like M88 is a state road, US 31 is a federal highway. Name one in our township that's a county road. Because I thought we were fixing county roads.
We are. We are.
The Torch Lake Drives, are they county
Yes.
roads, east and west?
Yes.
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 But see, we fix those as well, so they're not really exclusively county. The other question I have, of this $55,000 plus,
55 million.
oh,
sorry.
a million,
I wish it was 1,000.
yeah, yeah, I guess. What, when you, in these contributions this is the contributions that the county is making,
This is a cost estimate.
cost, and what does the county's percentage that they give on the repair of those?
So the county gives $750,000 divided up among the 15 townships of
Okay.
Antrim County.
Okay.
And that formula is based on population and miles of roads.
Now, we're not doing $18 million worth of work this year, correct? What does the $750,000 represent in the work that's going to be done? Do you know?
I think this year, if you count the Shanty Creek project, which was unexpected, that's 2 million. I think beyond that, we're around 3.5 to 4 million. I'm just going off the top of my head, but so this year, if you take the 2 plus 4, that's about $6 million worth of road work that
The county's contributing.
the county will be spending money on to fix
spending
roads.
money, and along with, in some cases, township money as well.
Right.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, no other comments? Then we'll move on to the consent agenda. Does anyone wish to pull any of the reports?
I don't.
Hearing none, all the reports will be accepted then by consent.
So everybody got the addendum here then?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I had it out on the table.
Oh, you had it right here. I took. put it
Well,
down.
I had them out on the table for the people too.
All right.
Good.
So moving on to the next item, special reports, Planning Commission, Jason,
We did not have a meeting last month.
right, it was canceled. FOIA update, Kathy.
I reported last month that we were up to date on FOIAs, remember? And I was inaccurate. We had one FOIA that still needed a little tweaking, and I'm happy to say that has now been taken care of. So we are right now, as of this moment, have completed all of our FOIA requests.
Good. All right, financial report, as mentioned in the past, the detailed financial report is on the website. Any questions regarding the financials can be directed either to myself or the clerk's office. Briefly, we've begun receiving our winter tax receipts, and they are reflected in our financial results. Treasurer's report indicates a balance in the general fund of $1,043,000. For the fire fund, $493,000, the ambulance fund, $519,000, and the road fund, $235,000. We concluded our preparation of the 22-23 budget for the current fiscal year, 21-22. We are estimating that we will end the year with either flat to the budget or a small surplus against a budgeted loss of $135,000. For the fiscal year of 22-23, we are forecasting a loss of $160,000. The 22-23 budget can be found on the website under the current meetings and hearings category. It's the last item under the annual meeting. So you can check that out on the website. That's all I have on financials. Yeah. No, we don't do it. It's by consent.
It's by consent, if there's nobody's pulling anything.
All right, moving to the next item, board action. We have no old business. We have one item under new business. Board, you've had a chance to review the documents associated with that. Kathy, you wanted to lead this discussion?
I did. First of all, that's where the typo is. On the page with the FOIA fee schedule up at the top, in item number 8, 6 times the stay minimum. I think that's supposed to be state minimum hourly wage. So before we finish this document, and then I want to add a paragraph after number 9. But basically, we have had items 1 through 7 in place practically from the time we began doing FOIAs. And this just tells how much we charge per page when we print, if we do a CD copy for you, et cetera. We then later added item number 8, which refers to using the township attorney to do any of our FOIA search. And the state allows us to charge not more than 6 times the state minimum hourly wage, which comes out to be $59.22. So even if your attorney charges you $200 an hour, we can only charge our FOIA requester $59.22 an hour for any work our attorney would have to do. I'm asking that we add item number 9 in that for the first time ever, we had to ask our tech support company to do email searches for us. We pay a tech support company, IT company, to archive all of our emails. And I just happened to look at my emails on my computer and they go back to 2016. But if somebody asks for information before that, the only way we could access that is to go through the tech company. They charge an hourly rate to do that. We've had to use the tech company twice now for the last 2 FOIAs that we did, and each time it cost the township $600. Now, I thought that was like a flat rate, but it just happened that both searches ended up costing the same amount of money. So they do charge hourly.
I thought it was a little more
So-
than that. I thought it was a little more than 600.
No,
were-
both
were six.
Randy and David's were
Oh, that was
600.
650 or something like
No,
that.
it was
Okay.
600. It's like $50 a person. It was a
Okay,
weird,
all right,
there's a
yes.
weird formula for it.
Okay.
And since we didn't have the tech companies specified on this document, I'm asking that we add it to this document. Now, I did do some research through MTA to find out if we can in fact do that. How do we add an item to this? And I did speak with MTA quite extensively about it. And basically what we were told is if you don't have it in the policy anywhere, then you can't do it. So what I'm asking that we add to item number 9, is at the end of the sentence to say to C3B on our detailed cost itemization worksheet, which is a 6-page document that can be handed out to the recipient, giving them an idea of what FOIA will cost them if, in fact, we had to charge for all of these things. And under 3B, it refers to contracted labor, and it says this fee is being charged because failure to do so will result in unreasonably high costs to the township that are excessive and beyond the normal or usual amount for those services compared to the township's usual FOIA requests. Because of the nature of the request in this particular instance, specified, blah, blah. So it is in a document that we do use within the township. So because of that, it's okay for us to charge that fee. So I'm asking that we put that on our fee schedule and that we add that sentence at the end, referring anybody to this document so that they can read what that detailed cost is referring to.
What is the hourly rate for IT right?
I don't remember if they told me an hourly rate, but I asked them, was it a flat fee that they were charging? Because I wanted to know how they got to the amount that they charged. And the gentleman that I spoke with said, no, it's not a flat fee. It just so happened that your two searches both came out to the same amount of money, but they charge hourly to do it. And I think I can get you a number, Alan, on my desk.
Well, what's bringing this up is I've talked to some IT people and they don't understand why the charge was so excessive, because they've been part of IT companies that archived, I don't think it was emails, but I think they archived a lot of things, and it was a matter of a quick search and they could punch it up. And they said, why did it take so long?
And part of it, I should get that. Part of it is, see, I'm not the techie either, Ellen. So part of it is because of, I believe he said, software that they use, which is not good for searching emails. So it's a matter of their
Well, then we
end.
might look for a company that can search them well, because there was not a charge
Indeed.
like this when we first signed up with them. It was a yearly fee.
Yeah, and I thought it would be included anytime we use them to do stuff like this. I thought it would have, or should have been included in the fee that we pay them annually to archive our emails. But it isn't, because it's over and above or extra work or whatever. I don't know, Mike might be able to help us know. I spoke with somebody, Ted, maybe. I talked to somebody here that had a better understanding of the software involved, and there probably is something, and IT Right even recommended it. But that doesn't help us today.
Recommended what?
The software to use, or how to get a better use of that. I know I'm not explaining it, Alan.
Well, it just seems costly in terms of at least, again, the IT, I'm not an IT person, in terms of the way it's organized and set up, that these should be very retrievable and not be a big deal for an IT company to pull
And I
off.
think they admitted that based on the software that they're using.
Well, I think
Did
that
I ask you,
that
Mike?
might get us to begin to look at another email host, or what do they call it?
Host would be
Archive
the right word, I
company,
believe.
because it is not rocket science in the IT world.
Well, and usually with our FOIAs, we can do our own email
Yes, that's
search
true.
because we have that on our own computers. It's when we can't. For example, in one of the last two, we needed the emails from people who are no longer employees of the township. And so the only way to get their emails was to go through the tech company. People that are no longer on the planning commission, or people that were no longer on ZBA, how do I get their emails? So there were reasons why we had to use it. And it's based on what the requester is asking for. And if the requester understands that what they're asking for is going to involve utilizing an attorney or utilizing our tech company, and that it's going to be costly. But we didn't have it specified. That's all I'm trying to do right now, is get it on our fee schedule so that it's there.
Okay.
So what's your motion?
I don't know.
So
What's my-
on the website, we have it in two places,
We have what in two places?
for your schedule.
The fee schedule,
It's under fee schedule and it's under FOIA. So they have to be able to match.
they have to match. I didn't think of the other fee schedule. We just updated that one, didn't we?
It's on there. Yes, this is the fee schedule off the website and
And
in our computer.
does it have FOIA things on there?
Yes,
Like the
yes,
cost of
yes.
print and so forth? Well,
Yes.
then the motion would be to add it to both places.
This is the fee schedule, and then this is just the FOIA section. And they look differently unless you put them together. I don't know.
Okay, so so my motion would be that the fee and permit schedule is amended with revisions to item 8 and the addition of item 9 as presented. But I would say that we want to add the fee schedules, plural. What's that one called, Sharon?
This
Is that also just called fee schedule?
fees and permit schedule.
Okay, well, that's what the motion says. And the other one is called FOIA fee schedule. So what words do we need? That the fee and permit schedule and the FOIA fee schedule be updated to include, be amended with the revisions. Is that clear as mud for everybody?
Do you need to have it in two places?
Well, that's a good question. We do have a fee schedule that shows,
Right.
everything.
And this thing, how old, this was last updated, what, April of 2000,
We just-
September of 21.
Yeah, we just
So
did it.
have you compared the two to see if you're adding something that it's already been done in another location?
It just looks differently. I kind of looked at and compared them.
Yeah, but does it have the same information
Does it
or is it
mention the
different
attorney?
information?
No,
Does it, okay, so it doesn't have number 8.
no.
Does it mention postage?
It just says other charges, envelopes, mailers, postage, and shipping. Yes, and then it says the current cost of items.
Okay. Well, then, Bob, perhaps it can be all condensed into one.
So why don't you go back and put it together and we'll bring it up at the next meeting?
I can do that too.
Okay,
Yeah, I was pulling to make sure that anybody that was looking at our website, pulling documents that they can compare to. That's
Well,
what I did.
this fee schedule, the FOIA fee schedule is with all the FOIA documents on the website.
Understood. That's why
So,
that's where I pulled it up from.
but both schedules, I mean, the one from the state allows us to do that.
It allows us to
And-
add, yes.
Well, it allows us, when you fill out that form, that's the form that we use to charge the people with, and that's the form that the state has given us. So we want to make sure we're consistent.
That's the form that MTA has given us. This is
Well,
MTA's document.
okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So
then
can we,
we'll
are
put
we,
it-
are we still
So
approving this then? or
so
No.
then I withdraw my motion.
We'll withdraw it. We'll bring it up at the March meeting.
I'm sorry to bring that up.
Well, that's, all right. Board, that concludes
That was my homework.
our new business. Next item is board discussion. Updating the police officer position raised that I brought forward a couple meetings ago. And I handed out that 4-page presentation for people to follow along. In doing the research, I pulled job descriptions from Elk Rapids and Central Lake. I also went out and looked at other townships, and there was fairly strong consistency in a township police enforcement officer as far as job descriptions go. General in nature. So what I tried to do is pull some of the key items and along with the budget information that I was able to find that came specific to that. So the way I'm laying this out for a process review, once again, the whole idea behind this is for us to make the determination after a public hearing as to whether or not we should put this on the August ballot for some millage to support that on either a 4 or 5 year cycle. I would like to schedule a public hearing on March 22nd, 2022 at 7 PM. That's 1 week after the annual meeting, so we can make the announcement at the annual meeting, and it gives me time to put the appropriate public notification in the paper. The board then would have the input from the public, and at our April 19th meeting, we could make a decision as to whether or not we want to put it on the ballot or not. I believe we got to get ballot language into the county somewhere early May 1st, somewhere in that time frame. So there's somewhat of a tight timetable, but we will open it up for the public to come and express their opinions. At that same meeting, and I'm not sure exactly what the process is, I'd like to have a second public hearing on the day park. The day park, our increase this year for the general fund is somewhere around $20,000 out of the taxes. That's my first look at it. The day park is a $40,000, $45,000, $30,000 a year drain out of the general fund, which limits the ability to address other items within the general fund that have to continually be addressed, such as pay increases and benefits, benefit costs. So I would like to include in that public hearing a discussion about how we finance the day park. The day park committee is taking a first step in taking some of the fees that are going to be collected and putting them in a reserve to repair the boat ramp when it's required. If in fact we collect the amount that they're estimating, we can put $5,000, $6,000 away this year for that. So those would be the two things that I would like to put on the public hearing for March 22nd at 7 PM. And that will be the process that will follow to get to the point that we make a decision. We either go to the public or we don't. To go to the next page, I've got 3 categories there: job description, job qualifications, job benefits. Everybody has had a chance to look at that over the last 3 days. I'll open it up to the board for comments, but once again, this is very high level. And you have to remember that if in fact the public wants it and they pass a millage, that's not going to happen until August. We don't get the first collection until December. And so therefore, we'll have a lot of homework to do to really pin down specifically how this thing's going to work. So I'm trying to build a nice generalized look at what this person would do, have it as our discussion to be able to present it to the public. And then if it passes, if we put it on it and it passes, then the idea would be we're going to have to do a negotiation with whoever the candidates might be. So again, I don't want to try to get too firm on specific items. Keep it at a general 1,000-foot level and make sure that we're able to maneuver as we get through the process. So any questions on the second page as far as what we put down? Alan?
Well, my first response is that having our own police officer would enforce our ordinances,
Right.
and that's not stated here.
That's fine.
I would, again, because that makes the difference, including, I guess, any ordinance. The Central Lake Police Department police chief, when I talked to him, it was quite a few, 3 years ago, he was also the zoning enforcement officer as well.
Well, we have an ordinance enforcement officer today. So the question becomes, do we want that individual to be driving around looking for those variances as opposed to handling other police activities? Or would he be an individual that would support the ordinance enforcement officer's duty when they would go out and serve papers or whatever? Again, I don't want to get too specific, but that's a good point. I'll put it down. The idea would be that if that were the case, we could try to define the 2 jobs, or we could eliminate one of the jobs.
I didn't realize you wanted questions on the first one. How are you going to market your hearings on this? I mean, not market, how are you going to let people know?
Well, we'll do our constant contact notification. We'll put the notification in the paper. People can watch the website and see that we've brought it up. It was on the agenda, it was posted on the agenda, and all the documents are now out on the website. So people have to be involved. They have to go out and watch the website and monitor the material that's out there. If people want to put ads in the paper, I'm not sure if we want to do that, but I'm open for ideas. What would you
Well, I just think
suggest?
they're both very important questions. And the day park especially is an important question.
How would you market it? How would you market it?
Well, you all have email lists. I'd start send out an email to people and ask them to spread the word through their emails.
Well, you have a big one, so you could start that for us.
I could, if that was what you'd want me to do. But I think we need to, I'd like to hear what people have to say about this. I've always thought the idea of a police officer, I like the idea, but then look at February. We don't need police officers now, although we did hit 6 deer this last month here, and you need somebody to watch what's going on. I don't know, the presence of a policeman, again, if you go up to the house that somebody has a zoning violation that is very blatant and open, they'll listen to you when you've got a squad car and a uniform and you talk about this shed that they just added to their house without a permit, as opposed to giving the zoning administrator a lot of flack, which we've seen happen very often. So that's just one part of it. The other one is the end of, again, my disappointment with the county's response to the end of Preserve Road in terms of helping us take care of that end of it. Again, we have to hire our own police department to take care of those kinds of things, which are in some respect also county responsibilities. But I like the idea of a police officer. I think we may not need it this year, but I think 5 years from now, we'll be glad we've started a process. With regard to the day park, again, we've talked about this, we hire a police officer, they're going to spend a lot of presence at the day park, just being there and letting people know that their behavior there is important, and most people behave well. I want to say that they do a good job, and so I'm pondering all that. It depends on what the people here want to do. If most people in the township do not use our day park. People put their boat in and take their boat out, and that's about it, because they have their own day park in front of their house. And so that's a very important function for our boat ramp there and the parking there. But the day park is used by a lot of people not from our area and from the surrounding area, not from our township. And that's fine too, but it costs us money to do it. And I know the park committee has waived things like charging for parking and all kinds of things like that, which again, you got to set up an organization to do it. And if that would you have to pay for the people that set up the organization and do it. So I don't know if that pays you back at all, the kind of money that you'd have to spend to maintain that kind of process. It's not an easy one.
All right.
I wrestled with it when I was supervisor,
Yep.
like you have. And again, there's another aspect that sticks in my head about, we've talked about, the committee talked about this at one time, about how to make that park more of a community place. And I'm not sure if you had events there, if you had a community house place building there that the community would use for whatever, that would draw them there. We have this place too, which is very good.
But
Anyways, just hopping off the top of my head.
All right.
Go ahead.
Don't we almost always put public hearing notices in the newspaper?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm going to do that.
okay, well,
Well, this is a meeting, and you're not really having a hearing, are you having a meeting? You
Well,
have hearings
the
on.
public meeting would be like what
Yeah.
you have suggested in the past. So whatever the appropriate process is,
Well, you
we'll,
called it a
we'll
public
figure it.
hearing, though, did
That's-
you not? Yeah.
that's what I thought that it would be, but hey, if we just want to do a public meeting, it doesn't matter to me.
Well,
But we
I
are
think
putting
newspaper
forward,
would be helpful. We're going to be in
Yeah.
public meeting on the following.
we are putting forward a specific item. So I don't know if that differentiates between a meeting and a hearing. When you did the ambulance meeting, 3 years ago, 4 years ago, I think that was a public hearing, because then I thought you guys took action after it. No,
It's just a
just a
meeting.
meeting? Okay. So we'll do a public
The planning
meeting.
commission had a meeting, had 3 meetings one time for when they rezoned the villages. And it was just a meeting, they got everybody noticed and said, we want to talk about this, and we had a good crowd.
All right, so I will call it a public meeting, not a problem. So on the last page, I did high-level budget based off of what I found in Elk Rapids. And all I did there, I saw what was out at Central Lake. And basically, salary ranges in some of the other communities, I mean, the bigger communities had enforcement officers in the 60s and 70s. Really small communities, smaller than ours, were in the low 40s. I took a range between 46 and 52 as an average. Assumed some overtime hours. And again, I'm basing it on a full-time person. There's 2,080 hours in a year and a couple weeks of vacation. So the idea would be in the summer months, you're going to have that person there. Now, Sharon brought up a good point. And it's why I'm not trying to get down into the weeds yet, but this is where you have the flexibility with this employee that they work longer hours during that May to October timeframe, and then you scale it down, but it's a base pay. And you can manipulate that as to how the hours play out based on our needs. On the other hand, it also is going to be based on what the individual is willing to do and how much time they're willing to spend. So that's why I say there's a lot of issues, but until we get to the point where we make a decision to do something, we're not going to be able to figure out those fine points until after that fact.
It seems to me that, Sharon, who was the old council before?
Bob Persons,
Yeah, and he used to give tickets on US 31. I don't know if we got the money for that or not.
he did very little of that.
I saw him chase somebody once. That's
He
why I
never
said
gave
it.
tickets he was also on the Antrim County Sheriff's Department, so he might have been,
Oh, okay.
he worked for the Antrim County Sheriff's Department and just worked.
But I just
on the
thought that might
side.
be a moneymaker in the winter.
Well, there's a lot, again, there's a lot of things to think about, but I got to get to August if the board wants to. If the board doesn't want to, then that's fine. Then I don't have to worry about any of those things. But if you want us to get to August, then we sell the program for the voters, and if they want it and it passes, then the hard work begins in putting this thing together. But I don't want to spend a lot of time ahead of that, because in reality, it's a big picture item. Do you want a police officer? Here's the general characteristics of their duties. Here's the costs associated with doing that. And this roughly would be a 0.35 mil add-on to your taxes to support it. And what I did in this was just basically took the budgets they had were very specific line items. So I just grouped all that stuff together and said, hey, 27% of all this stuff of their salary is basically miscellaneous costs to support the individual. The vehicle, I assumed 80,000. They run somewhere in the neighborhood of 60 to 65 fully equipped, from what I understand, because you get the discounts from the dealers on this. There's also a lot of grant money out there supporting townships that want to go into the enforcement area. So it's conceivable we wouldn't have to spend any money on that. As I put it here, one of the things that we'll have to look at is When your vehicle goes in, you're out of business for that time. So the question is, can we work out an arrangement with either Central Lake, who has 2 vehicles, or Elk Rapids, who has 3 vehicles, to get some backup during that time that the vehicle. But again, that's getting into the minutia and how we resolve going through those. So board, again, what I wanted to do is get back to you as,
Well,
I
you
promise.
started with Alan. We didn't really go around the table.
well, go ahead.
No.
Alan, voice jump.
Well, you kind of leaned towards him first, and I thought you were going to go around.
Go for it,
Ask
Sharon.
Sharon what she
Sharon.
has to say.
What
Well,
would you
I've
like
talked to you a
say?
lot about this because
Exactly.
I had a lot
Yep.
of, and I got a lot of answers. That with job description, it would be patrols township, not the village, but that's just wordsmithing. But I thought about it several different times, and I'm going to be the devil's advocate here. We have had a hard time getting anyone to apply for anything in certain positions around here, as we all know. So could the concept be thrown out there also, instead of a full-time, asking thoughts about full-time or part-time? Because there's a lot of part-timers that run on departments also. They're full-time in the sheriff's department or whatever, and then they could be part-time or other. So instead of saying only a part-time position, what would during your conversation with the public, would the concept even be viable for a part-time also? I don't know. So those are just comments.
Well, you could have 3 people. You could have 3 part-timers, because summertime is going to be very busy. But again, you're going to have to find somebody willing to take a limited summertime to do that. Now, to your point, Elk Rapids, I think right now has an open position. I'm not sure how well they've done on that. At least it was on their website. We can arrange it any number of ways. The idea is, do you want the
Only if there's-
enforcement?
Yeah, only if, yeah, but that's correct. But only if they're part-time, if there's, so if everything happens, so, and the public said yes, and we couldn't find anybody for full-time, could the concept be out there for a part-time? We'd have to work around all that sort of stuff.
Right, but that
Right.
only happens if the public says yes. And so the idea is you got to give the public something to work with so that they can look at and say, hey, that's what I want to do. Do I want to incur the 0.35 mils? And if the answer is yes, then it's up to the board then to execute that action. And we do to the best of our ability with the resources that we can find.
Can I ask Kevin a question?
You can.
Kevin, would there be an advantage in any way that you see for the fire department to have our own police officer whenever you have a need for a police officer for, I know the accidents the county has called out there on the highway, but any other situation where if we had a police officer here, that would be an advantage to you?
Yeah, if he was a state fire investigation, certified that way. Otherwise, I have one investigator's phone number at home. The state police have fire investigators, and we'll have them on scene very quickly if need be. But that would be one option for, that's in the job description, fire investigator.
I have
Would they
that.
be, I'm thinking, would it be,
Yeah.
I mean, everything from, an ambulance call, often someone shows up for a lift assist or something like that, or if there is a fire call, would having a policeman there to help you with whatever, I don't know how the incident command works when there's a police officer shows up there, but in other words, would it help you that way with calls, on a call?
Well, yeah, that's kind of a dual thing, actually, with if I remember right, the state, on an accident scene, fire chief or assistant chief has total authority over that scene, even over the law enforcement. With law enforcement being there, if the only advantage of that, but that's a scenario that if there's an intoxicated person that's not really injured and combatant, if we arrive, yeah, in that scenario, yes, but that doesn't happen very often. Other than that, we direct traffic control, that's established right away at an accident scene. So the primary thing of law enforcement arrival is they do a on-scene investigation, especially when there's fatality involved. That takes some time. On the EMS side, I might have to refer that to Ted, but on my own opinion on that, that would be only if they were called to a domestic, and then the police officer would respond right away with the EMS unit if there's a known domestic call, and they usually have them stage away until they figure out. But on the domestic calls, we just can't have one guy going in. So he's going to probably have to wait for backup from the county or off Rapids or wherever the backup's coming from that. With the EMS part, I'll refer that to you. You can think of anything that was
That's exactly the right, everything he said, so.
Well, I think, again, the idea is that we want to find out what the public wants. And this is the framework that I've laid out. And I mean, before that public meeting, I can certainly work further on the framework. If you have suggestions, send them to me, let me know, and I can put that type of document together that we can put on the website. And if the board is in agreement that I should go ahead and set up a public hearing, or I'm sorry, public meeting for March 22nd, I will take the responsibility to do that. Is there a consensus on the board for that? Jason, you okay with that?
No.
Okay. All right. But I have a consensus.
Can I ask a question?
Of course.
How did we even get to this position? Are we like overflowing with letters of people asking for police officers?
You know, there is a history to it. I mean, Bill and I started this like 2 years ago, and it has never gotten any traction. So one of the
Do we
things-
get letters though? I mean, are there people asking for this?
I don't get letters, but I get people that talk to me about, especially wintertime where residents are on, roads that have low occupancy and they're out there by themselves. They said, hey, it would be nice if there was a local person. But
Well,
do
yeah,
I-
it would be nice, but come on.
Well, that's,
Can I ask more questions about this?
of course.
So I know you keep mentioning Central Lake and Elk Rapids, but how, for like even the pay scale, how can you even base that on there as far as, we have no schools, we have no bars, we have no restaurants, we have a motel that can't even be open all year long, we have one gas station, we have no medical marijuana here. My other question is this a 24-hour service?
Well, normally they are not. And that's one of
And
the
doesn't most of
things-
our crime happen at night?
I don't know, does it?
I would assume so. I mean,
Well-
how many break-ins happen during the daytime?
I guess if you look at this,
Drunk driving at night?
well, there's issues there in the summer. That's why I was saying there's,
So this is
There's
a
a
8 to 5
chance.
cop, Monday through Friday? Are they not working weekends?
well, if you remember what I said earlier.
Yeah,
and
some work longer hours in
looking
the
at
summer.
Right. So the whole idea here is once you get something in place, then you start working around the various items that you've just mentioned to make sure that we address those things. But the idea is if the public is interested in it, they should have a right to look at it. I understand you may not agree with it, but the question is, does the public have a right to make the decision? And it's not a board decision.
Sure. I just, they'll have way less responsibilities than most townships around here, so I think that pay scale is a little high. Another point, Alan made a great point. I know for years you guys were looking for an enforcement officer. Well, if we hire a police officer, then that we may be eliminating that job. So that's out the window. So I don't know. I guess you can probably see where I'm going with how I feel about this.
I can guess.
Yeah, I have a problem, you want to leave for Florida or go somewhere warm in the wintertime and leave your house. I get that you want to have somebody keep an eye on it, but personally, I don't want my taxpayers' dollars going to pay somebody to babysit a house where people aren't at. I mean, that's why you get an alarm system. So,
But Jason, those are all good points, and that's exactly why you open it up to the public.
You know, in
Rather
our
than-
little neighborhood, Jason, we've got 5 families that work from home, brought in young kids that we've never had around us. We have 5 families with little kids on bicycles, on the roads. They're going to be out there in the summertime, and I think there's more of that all over our community. And so to the extent of controlling traffic speeds, Golden Beach Drive is 45 miles an hour, which is an absurdity in my mind. And with all the driveways and the hikers and the joggers and now kids. So I think there might be a need to have that presence there. That's one thing I would add.
But
Well-
isn't most of the traffic from your neighborhood? They're not people just coming off of 31, just taking a hike and driving down your road, are they?
Correct. Most
Yeah.
people in the area.
So
but-
your neighbors should take better control of
But
that
there's
road.
it's 100 homes there.
well, that's a great point, Alan, but we're still talking summertime. I mean, I think the main focus is we want this police officer to patrol that day park. I think that's the main thing. And man, we could take that money that we're going to pay this police officer and stick it in the day park fund, and there's your $30-something thousand debt every year.
Well, it may not, like you say, it may not be the time. We might be too early, but it's something that I think we'll look at in the future if we don't do it now.
Well, are you opposed to having a public hearing or a public meeting and hearing what citizens have to say? And if we get letters either supporting it or not supporting it? Do you
I mean,
object to that?
I guess I would like to hear what the public says. Yeah.
All right, so
But I mean, if we have like 3 people here, then
Well-
that's to me, that doesn't
that
prove
doesn't
anything.
represent the public. I appreciate that. And if that's the case, we always have the option to have a public hearing later on in the year. And that would just put it off because we wouldn't be able to put it on the ballot. So that would just be one of the consequences of doing that. But really, again, the whole idea of this was to give you a framework. And with that framework, are you willing to agree or go along with, we have a public hearing, meeting?
Yeah, I'll go
And
along. I would be willing to listen to the public.
All right, and that was my question for a consensus, was a public meeting.
Well, I wanted to make sure I got that stuff off my chest.
Well, you got it off. All right, good. All right, well, then I will do that. And again, between now and then, if you have suggestions or ideas, and Jason, you can send items in because I can put a pro and con type page together as well in this thing. Get it to me so that we have it in time to get it out to the public and show it to them.
Now, I know you have surgery. Are you going to be at that 15th meeting then? Are you planning on it or?
You mean the annual meeting?
Yeah,
You threatened me if I didn't come.
okay, well, I'm just,
You told me you'd bring a wheelchair to get me
I
in.
did, but I'm just, at one point you said you weren't going to be here, so.
Doctor said that as long as I don't put any pressure on the foot, I can move around.
Okay.
You mean like no skiing?
Yeah, no skiing. All right, we have nothing on the information only section, so citizen comment. Anybody filled out a form? All right, we'll let you hit us.
Yeah, Alan, I feel like I didn't quite answer your question good about county primary roads. The answer is yes, the townships do. Because a prime example is Atwood Road right up here. Banks Township was looking at doing something with that in the next couple of years. And then the Antrim County Road Commission chose that as a detour route when they were doing 31 here. So now we're going to get federal dollars to do that so that the township doesn't have to pay to redo that, because they said that since they sent heavy trucks down that road, they ruined it. So now they're going to help pay to fix it. So that's just one example. There's other townships that have saved up their allotment, if you will, for a couple of years to do a main road. Eddy School Road is an example of that. It's in more than one township, but the townships are trying to get it redone, so. On your police thing, I looked into one of those grants for the county trying to, because there are grants out there, like you said, to start up or increase a police
cars.
officer or an ordinance enforcement officer. And I ended up not having success with that because one of the primary things that the grant listed was your tax base divided by your population. And you guys in Torch Lake are the problem. You got lots of high-value property and not a lot of people. So that skewers that number, if you will. And Torch Lake isn't the only thing. You keep going on down, up and down here. Elk Rapids is the same way. So part of the county would apply, but when you look at it on a county-wide basis, we're automatically, grants are based on a point-based system, and you automatically lose like 20 points right there. So I haven't pursued it further. Part of me is like, well, maybe I should try anyways, because you never know. Maybe nobody else is
Right.
applying for it. But on the other hand, you're kind of discouraged to try because, I'm already not a priority. So
Well, we're going to try.
that's all I got.
All right.
Our park plan grant is based on like security or safety or what, I don't know if you
Yeah.
could,
Insurance.
I don't know if you could sing a car as being, safety
Well,
related, but it is.
There's a
sort
lot of equipment that goes into the car that there's areas and groups that
They're
have
small.
grants for that.
They're just small.
Yeah, they're small. They,
Well,
they
but
had what,
anything would help.
$5,000 or, that's right.
Anything would help.
All right, so, board comment, Sharon, I'll start with you.
I had asked the board if anyone got that Township Insights, because that's really an informational type of thing. The governor, the budget was unveiled. So she's got the 53-page budget out there if anyone's interested in that. But I just wanted to say that the MTA executive director issued a press release, and it refers to the budget. And I just want to read a sentence or two, if you don't mind. The MTA says, budget proposal marks much needed recognition of value of Michigan communities. Michigan Townships Association Executive Director Neil Sheridan, in response to Governor Whitmer's fiscal year budget proposal, and it goes on to say, I'll skip some of this part. It says marks a much needed recognition of the value and important role of our communities and the essential services they provide, particularly through the pandemic and beyond our recovery. And then it goes on to say that with our once in a lifetime funding available, which was the ARPA, we are heartened to see proposed investments to safeguard, innovate, and amplify public safety, the environment, infrastructure, and the economy, and proposed increases and protections for our revenue sharing. So the revenue sharing was a hot topic because our census numbers went down so much. They're re-looking at that. So part of her budget is providing some of that revenue sharing back up to where those where the census has declined. So that's part of that budget. It's kind of interesting to read, but that's my only comment, is to say that where the townships and the cities and villages are all being recognized by the state of Michigan. So we're happy for that.
Okay, Kath?
Yeah, first of all, there will be an election in May. Just came out last week that I heard of it. It involves Central Lake Schools and the ISD, yeah. Shar-M. But it does not involve Elk Rapids schools in any way, shape, or form. So it's going to be one of those probably very light turnout, but having to do with Central Lake School District. And I believe they're going for 3 different proposals on that. And so that's the first Tuesday in May, which is May 3rd. And then I'm wanting to respond to a letter to the editor again, or a different letter to the editor that was in the Elk Rapids paper. I didn't get the date, but it was regarding Torch Lake Township specifically. And there were some, once again, there were some incorrections in there, incorrect statements. And so I say it again, just because you read it doesn't mean it's true. So for example, this is going back a little bit, the zoning administrator was forced to resign. That's not true. The zoning administrator resigned the position of her own volition. Also, there's wondering why the fees for public records for freedom of information has greatly increased. It's not all the fees, it's just the fact that we had to use the tech companies. So this one kind of got me. There's a minimal discussion of agenda items at board meetings. Have members discussed the issues beforehand and already decided how they will vote? No, but we get our packets 4 days ahead of the board meeting, so we have lots of time to go through the packets and prepare comments if there's something we would like to say. The emails that have been, the Planning Commission and the Zoning Board of Appeals emails have been dropped from our website, and they're kind of implying that that was the supervisor who did that. It was not the supervisor who did that. It was the zoning administrator who feels that if there are questions having to do with planning or zoning, that the questions should be fielded through the zoning administrator. So by having just one communication, I guess she felt that was easier for the community. I guess that's it, basically. I just wanted, when I read these things, they kind of make me angry because they kind of people twist things sometimes and imply things that aren't exactly true. So
If we have transparency, why is it not possible that you can call up a planning commission member, ask them a question about something? Why is the zoning administrator involved? What?
Are you
why would
asking-
it- Yeah, I'm asking you. You obviously think that's a good arrangement.
are you
But if we-
asking a question about zoning or planning is where I was
Well, it'd
going
be
with that.
zoning, it could be ZBA. I mean, if somebody wanted to call in the past Dave Barr and the ZBA with regard to a decision that the ZBA made, I don't know why that has to go through the zoning administrator. It could, but I don't see why it has to. I mean, we have transparency everywhere, I would assume, I would hope.
Yes. I guess if you wanted to call a ZBA member, that you can do that on your own.
Well, in other words, you
mean,
would not
call
allow
or-
it through the township.
I know what you're asking, Ellen.
I
and,
know what I'm asking.
I do think it's a good idea.
To keep those people in the closet. That's what you're saying.
No,
That-
not in the closet.
That
Weren't
is,
the names and the emails only on there for a very short time?
What's that?
we don't know what the history was on it.
I don't.
No, because they were on, they were off. So I don't know if they were just put on when Jackie redid the email list or not.
Well, be honest with you, Alan, I don't check my email very much, so to get a quicker answer, they're better to send it to the zoning administrator.
It may not be where I want to ask the question though, Jason. I should have a choice.
Well, then
Well,
come
you-
to a meeting and ask the commissioners or ask at the meeting where it can be
Do I
answered
have to
by
wait
the.
until a meeting before I can check with them with regard to a question I may have? I mean, it's not transparency. That's not accessibility. We're not
Okay.
asking anything derogatory or harmful or
So-
underhanded.
So you
So you
believe
say-
that the Zmail,
I think everyone should be available. Anyone who works for this township and appointed officials should be available to the
Okay.
public.
all right, so take it.
We'll take your opinion under advisement.
I know.
Jason?
No, I know you have good intentions with that police officer, so I didn't mean to rough you up.
You
But,
didn't rough me up.
Mop the blood up off the table there.
Personally, Alan, I don't know how you can sit on a organization that sends these emails out and continue to sit on our board. So that's my
What,
say on that.
make that clear, Jason?
I don't know how you can be part of an organization that sends out these emails and these letters to the newspaper about our board when you sit on the board.
Well, the question is.
You are you
those
are part
things-
of that organization, aren't you?
I am a member of that organization. I'm not an officer. I help pass petitions, and I'm very proud of that. And because my attempt here was to represent the people of this township, and we did it in a legal way. And I think that's something that we ought to do.
And out 3 things that was incorrect.
Well, yeah.
You should know that. If you're on this board, you should know that that's
Well,
incorrect.
that was not, I did not participate in that.
Did you
but-
not read that email before it was sent out?
This one's a letter to the editor.
When that was sent out.
You should have known that those 3
Excuse me,
statements were
When that
incorrect.
letter was sent out, those things were true.
They were
sorry.
never true.
I'm sorry, that's not so.
All right, gentlemen.
Jason,
And lady.
also, okay,
Alan, we'll call it an evening. I'll make the motion to adjourn. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Motion's been made, seconded to adjourn. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Oppose?
15.
Thank you.
Alan, you're the one that organized that group. You told me that.
no, I did not organize.